Every year, without fail, I'm asked about some new diet. Years ago, back in the '90s, it was Sugar Busters. Then it was South Beach Diet. I've seen Atkins Diet. I've seen several of them come and go, and this year's no different. We have another one. We seem to be pushing a lot towards these meat-based or protein-based diet, and the latest is this carnivore diet. But is this something that we should be doing? Is it healthy? And should we be concerned about cholesterol, saturated fat with this particular diet? Well, we're going to chew on that and more today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson, president of Personalized Fitness. You're the host. You're the host. I'm the host of the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today and talking about yet another diet, another you may say fad diet, the carnivore diet. And we're going to dive into this and also the concerns that folks have expressed, especially anytime we talk about a protein-based or heavy meat-based diet, the idea of saturated fat and high cholesterol comes up. So we're gonna dive into that today and check it out for you. But before we do that, I'll let you know how to get in touch with the show if you have any questions about this show or any others, or if you have any questions concerning dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That's also our website. And, of course, Personal Edge Fitness, that's our Facebook page. Hit us up there, Instagram, any of those sources. If you are so inclined, hit me up on X at TeamPE. Okay, the you may have heard of this. I'm not sure if you're attuned to all the different fads that come out, the nutrition fads that come out, the new diets that come out, and you may be one of those individuals that's always looking for something new to try. And you may have heard about what is called the carnivore diet, there's several different. I feel there's several different variations of this diet, of this type of dieting where it's heavily protein based, and many people think that know me and that are fans of the show or clients of ours, and know that I push protein, and I hate to say I push protein because we should have protein no matter what, but protein is one of the three pillars of the Fountain of Youth. Now, if you're a fan of the show, you've heard me talk about it in a whole podcast on the Fountain of Youth. And if you were at our presentation that we had this past week, did a presentation here at Personal Edge Fitness in our series of PE Presents, and actually spoke on one of my favorite subjects, of course, which is the lie of age. And I actually mentioned it at the lie of age. The three pillars of youth, longevity, are simple. Number one, water, of course. You know I'm going to talk about that. How much water? 100 ounces a day, every single day. Fitness, of course. Full body fitness, not just going out for a walk, not just doing resistance training, but full body fitness at least 3 days a week, if not more. And then the last being, of course, protein, and protein every meal, every day. And I talk about that a lot, so I'm sure that people think I'm using the air quotes here, quote unquote, fan of protein. Well, I'm a fan of protein. I'm a fan of carbohydrates. I'm a fan of fat. I'm a fan of all these, and especially when we take them in the way we should. The basis behind the carnivore diet is, it's like any. I don't know. It's like any diet. I'll go ahead and finish that statement. The basis behind it is that you're eliminating carbohydrates, you're eliminating a lot of sugars, therefore you shouldn't have the insulin spikes, and you shouldn't. They don't say this typically in the material, but you typically are not going to have high cravings. You're going to have high cravings, but you're not going to be able to satisfy those cravings through the diet, because usually we crave salt, sugar, alcohol, or caffeine, and except for sodium, except for salt, there's really not a whole lot of the others in this diet, and so because of that, and not taking in the heavier amounts, you're you're supposed to lose weight. And that's what the carnivore diet is basically about. They also, you read a lot of material about the fact that it supposedly reduces inflammation. It's really good for gut health. It increases your energy. These are the things you hear about this particular diet. And I understand why they say those different things. All right, first and foremost, I think I described already the reason you see the weight loss. If you've heard me talk about, if you're a fan of the podcast, you've heard this. You've heard me talk about obesity. You've heard me talk about why we overeat. There's only one reason why we overeat, one reason only. And there's a reason why I'm speaking about obesity in the same breath here. There's only one reason why we overeat, which is cravings. That's it. There's no other reason why we overeat. I spoke to somebody this week. I did a presentation for an annual meeting for a company here, and I did my live food presentation. And one of the individuals afterwards came out and talked to me and said that they weren't craving. They just didn't control their amounts. Well, if you're not controlling your amounts, because you're craving. And so craving's the first reason why we overeat, and is the only reason why we overeat. Excuse me. And there's only two reasons why we crave. The two reasons that we crave. Number one, 40% of the reason why we crave is lack of water. Very simple. Number two is stress. 60% of the reason why we overeat is stress. And so what this diet does, and you don't hear them talk about this a whole lot. Because I think the powers that be that actually put this carnivore diet together, I'm sure know that by eliminating salt, sugar, alcohol, and caffeine, not all salt, but quite a bit of salt, but salt, sugar, alcohol, caffeine, you're taking away the four chemicals that we crave. Now you may be thinking, there's the answer. Anything that has those four things in it is evidently bad food. No, it's not true. You know I don't believe in that. You know that's not true. It's actually a lie that there is such thing as bad food. But in this program, the people that put this together know that those four things, if they can regulate those, they can inadvertently get people to regulate their amounts. Now, I think the attraction to this diet, and it's interesting to me because when they're using indirectly, they're using what I call the live food as an attraction to this diet. Let me show you what I mean. The live food, for those of you who haven't heard my podcast about that or haven't heard me talk about that, the live food is based on the ridiculous concept that there is such thing as bad food. And that all started back in 1955 when a celebrity had a heart attack. And that's when Angel Keys came up with the lipid hypothesis, and we started criminalizing food, which was all completely wrong. Lipid hypothesis has never been proven. But one of the first things we were supposed to stop eating was red meat. Horrible for you. Don't eat red meat, high saturated fat. Don't eat that stuff. That's what's causing all our problems. It was red meat, dairy products, and fat, F-A-T, any kind of fat. And I argue that F-A-T would not be the bad word that we feel like it is, or that we treat it as, if it had not been for this lie. But in this program, they kind of inadvertently use that to their advantage. They're telling you, hey, you know that bad stuff that you're not supposed to eat? Well, guess what? You get to have as much of it as you want. And that's attracting a lot of people to this diet, I'm sure. I read an article online. It was kind of funny. I had to laugh a little bit because it mentioned a character on TV from Parks and Recreation. And I can't think of his first name. I'm sorry. His last name is Swanson, and he's a big meat eater. They make jokes about it on the show all the time. And in the parentheses said, "Hey, he'd be really happy about this diet." And so they're inadvertently using. I feel they're inadvertently using the hey, you get to cross the line. You get to do something bad, and that is you get to have red meat on this. I think that was the attraction. With every kind of protein-based diet program, and so they're using that to their advantage. They also know, like I said, that they're controlling the four chemicals that actually cause us to crave. And if we don't crave, we don't overeat. Period. Don't fool yourself. The only reason we overeat is we crave it. I can prove that to you real quick. Well, yeah, but I don't crave it all. I just overeat. I just like it so much. Well, you like it to a point. Because I seriously doubt you eat to where you just bloated every single time. I'm sure you do, but I'm sure that you don't do that every single time. Well, if you just liked it so much, why is there a limit? I mean, the limit would be your stomach, yes, but that's only when you really bloat yourself on every single meal. So if you're not bloating yourself on every single meal, there's a point that you like it, quote unquote. Anything beyond that is craving, period. I mean, and actually even if you're overeating it, period, you are craving. So don't fool yourself. So they're able to control cravings by controlling those chemicals. And so we end up with the result of the number one result everybody's looking for, of course, is weight loss. And then there are arguments that inflammation goes down. And energy increase is going to change any time you have a fat loss, especially if you're over fat, if you have a high percentage of body fat. Anytime you drop that body fat, you're going to see and feel an energy change. Why? Fat is a tissue that it's stored energy. That's all it is, and it doesn't really add anything to you except for insulation. Yes, as far as warmth is concerned, a little bit of protection, but the main reason it's there is to have a little extra energy. Plus, now the fat that's not just stored, that's actually used by the body, is used by several organs. I was speaking to one of my staff members today about this, and of course, you need a lot of fat for your brain, believe it or not. But if you take care of that excess, what we typically, the whole reason the most of us go on a diet to quote unquote lose weight, we're trying to drop that fat. Anytime you drop that fat, drop that excess fat, your energy level is going to increase. One thing, your blood flow is going to increase because it's not having to go through fatty tissue. Also, just by dropping that fat, you've dropped some weight. Some gravitational pull from the earth on your body has changed, and therefore you're not. It's like running around all day with a 10-pound weight on your body, and then all of a sudden you go running without the 10-pound weight. Wow, you feel energetic, you feel lighter. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what happens when you end up losing that excess. And so, yeah, your energy level is going to increase. What we need to know is this? Gosh, I can't believe I'm about to use this word because I don't like to use this word when it comes to nutrition, because we abuse the word. Is it healthy? Because that means that, oh, yeah, okay, well, then most people take that to mean that this food is unhealthy and that food is healthy. That's not what I'm talking about. Is it good for your health to do this diet, or can it be bad for your health to do this diet? So, well, one of the things that I want to put to rest as far as the diet is concerned is one of the arguments against it has been about high saturated fat. If you are eating, and by the way, I just should have told that at the beginning, give you an idea of what this diet would look like. And having, like on day one, doing scrambled eggs, bacon, chicken breast, melted cheddar cheese, and some kind of meat pie. Day two, smoked salmon and sausage patty, turkey burger, topped with fried egg, pork chops cooked in butter. Day three, ham steak and bone broth tea. Crab and hard-boiled eggs, chicken thighs with mozzarella cheese. I'm skipping ahead now. Day six, ground beef and over hard eggs, pork tenderloin, salmon, filet with butter sauce. What I just was listing on after each one of those days is what you would eat during that day, and that gives you an idea. That's not a hard written way of doing the diet. They give you parameters, but that gives you an idea. What would you be eating? And all those they're high protein, many of them high saturated fat, many of them high cholesterol. And you may think, wow, there's a red flag right there. High saturated fat, I've heard so much about it, it's horrible for you, and high cholesterol. Well, you've heard me talk about this before, and this is where I'm going to help this diet program and say that saturated fat, that high cholesterol, yeah, don't have to worry about that. You've heard me talk about it before. That is all based on what I call live food, and where we got the live food, and that was all created by Angel Keys, who developed the lipid hypothesis. And the lipid hypothesis states that high saturated fat diets create high cholesterol. And actually, that is true. I mean, if you continually eat a high saturated fat diet, especially if you're overeating, you're typically going to have high cholesterol. Now, if you're going to turn off the podcast, that's it. That's all I needed to know. High cholesterol is horrible for you. No, wait till you hear the second part of the lipid hypothesis. Not proven, hypothesis. The second part of it is that high cholesterol causes heart disease. Folks, that has never been proven. Now, you've probably heard me say that quite often because I think it's incredibly dangerous. I think it's causing more problems than it's ever helped, and that is believing this. But let me show you something. In researching this podcast, I came across this, and I was I almost jumped out of my chair. I was so elated. I'm actually throwing my glasses on and going to read this because I want to make sure I quote this correctly. The title of this is Saturated Fat Doesn't Cause Heart Diseases. Now, that's interesting. Who says that? Quote, a 2020, just 4 years ago, a 2020 study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, you know, those heart guys, indicated that there are no beneficial effects of reducing saturated fat intake on heart diseases or mortality. It continues, quote, it also says their content in any nutrient group cannot predict the health effects of food without considering the overall macronutrient distribution. Fat, dairy, and unprocessed meat are foods rich in saturated fats and have a complex matrix that is not associated with any risk of heart diseases, unquote. Isn't that fascinating? I say the Journal of American College of Cardiology for the win. There it is. And I've not seen that. I know that the lipid hypothesis, I know they tried to prove it not too long ago. I have not found that study yet, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But when researching this, I come across, there it is, from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. High saturated fat diets or high saturated fat in your diet has no effect on heart disease or mortality. So there's an argument for the carnivore diet. Well, what's the argument against? And by the way, can you lose fat on this kind of a program? Can you lose weight on this type of program? Absolutely. Absolutely you can. But I am going to warn you a bit against it, like I would pretty much any quote-unquote diet program. The reason I say quote-unquote is let's first go back and look at a little bit of vocabulary real quick. D-I-E-T, diet. Ever since I was a kid, I knew that word to mean restrict, hold back, eliminate things. And that's what diet means. I'm on a diet. Oh, okay, you're trying to lose weight or whatever. Later on, I found out that some people did diets for certain health problems. The 1.7% of the world that has celiac disease has a diet that's gluten-free. But diet, D-I-E-T, simply means an eating program. If you're overeating, believe it or not, that's a diet. What? You're not restricting anything. Right. That's all it means is eating something. Believe it or not, Mahatma Gandhi, when he was doing his hunger strike, he had a diet. The diet was he wasn't eating anything. But that's what D-I-E-T means. So the second thing they want to say about this is that like many diets that I talk about or that I've come across, they fall into that category of what I say about diets. I'm not against any diet that's not illegal, immoral, or fattening. That's true. But diets, as we are to understand them with the carnivore diet or Atkins or Pritikin diet or any of them, whatever, name the diet, doesn't matter. They're nothing more than gimmicks. Well, that sounds like a bad word. Gimmick. Well, let me show you something. Let me show you a gimmick. right here. If you're watching me on social media, I'm holding up my water bottle, my Personal Edge Fitness water bottle that I go everywhere with me. You've heard me talk about this before. I'm rarely, got it upside down, look there. I'm rarely seen without this. In fact, the only times I'm ever seen without it is wherever it's not socially acceptable to have this. It is with me all the time. I take it into speaking engagements. I take it into it goes into church with me. I go everywhere with this water bottle. But you'll notice, if you're looking at this on camera, you'll notice that I have rubber bands on this bottle. Now, I've talked about this before. What are the rubber bands for? Well, they track my water. When I want to drink 100 ounces of water a day. Everybody knows I recommend that. That is also recommended by the American Medical Association, American Dietary Association, American Heart Association, Harvard Medical, Stanford Medical, Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, Cooper Clinic. I found out the Canadian Institute of Health Research recommends 100 ounces a day. So how do I know that I'm going to drink 100 ounces? I'm tracking it. So every time I drink a bottle, I go from the bottom to the top with a rubber band, or from the top to the bottom, depending on which way I'm going. Today, I happen to be going from the bottom to the top. And the big purple band, which is for Wounded Warriors in Action, fantastic organization, by the way, that band counts as one. These two other bands are actually Personal Edge Fitness rubber bands, silicone bands, and that means I've had, this is a 20-ounce bottle, 3 bands. I've had 60 ounces. I've got 3 more bands that I want to finish before the end of the day. That is a gimmick. That's a gimmick. That's all it is. And it didn't make me drink water, but it's a gimmick that works for me. And it's one that works for a lot of our clients. I have a lot of our clients use that same gimmick. So gimmick is not really a bad word. That's not what I'm saying when I say that a diet is a gimmick. It is a tool that you can get your head around that, okay, that kind of makes sense for me. I think I can do that. You know, I like bacon. So if I just get myself all psyched up about bacon, then I'll just eat a lot of bacon and eggs, and I'll lose weight. Well, that's what it is, it's a gimmick. The problem with a typical diet, South Beach, Pritikin, Carnivore, Keto, any of them, is can you maintain it? And I'll go round and round a lot of times arguing with people about, I do great on keto. I do great on keto. How are you doing now? Well, I quit it a while back, but I need to get back on it because I do great on keto or South Beach or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're going to do any of these, you do them only for a short bit of time. You do them to make a change. But if you want the change to stick, before you even start the diet, have your plan for what's going to happen afterwards. And if you say to yourself, I'm just not going to eat as much, or the worst, the absolute worst, the one that fails all the time, you know what? I'm just not going to eat that other food anymore the rest of my life. Bull. You have not corrected the problem. So in order to have a program that's going to continue the weight loss afterwards, with carnivore program, any of these, what are you going to do afterwards? And more importantly, even more important than that, what was causing you to overeat in the first place? Don't fool yourself. Oh, in my situation, I don't have stress. I just overeat or whatever. Don't fool yourself. First thing, check your amount of water. If you're low on water, you're going to crave. And you're going to satisfy that craving. Number 2 is stress, 60% of it. Find out what's bugging you. Find out, get an idea. One of the best ways to do it is to write a diet diary. Just write down what time of day and what you had to eat. Even before you start the diet, you're going to start to see a pattern. And you can have somebody check that over. And believe it or not, if you want the way that works the best, is paying attention to what you're eating. Now, we have a program here. We have an In It to Lose It program. We have one starting Monday, as a matter of fact. We do this about every single month. It's a 2-week, quote-unquote, weight loss program. And there's a diet plan that goes along with it. But we use videos and give you education on what to do. First thing, what is happening? Why are you losing the weight? And then how do you maintain it? What do you do to continue afterwards? Because it's not going to stick if you just tell yourself, well, I'm just not going to overeat anymore. The other thing that we have, and this is open not only to our clients, just like In It to Lose It, it's open to our clients, it's open to the general public, but another way of making sure that you maintain this change is by tracking. And we have the simplest, easiest way that we can track what you're doing and give you coaching and accountability all with your health and fitness, and it's called Pledge. Pledge is our app where goals meet accountability. And we have, to get involved with Pledge, it is a simple app. It is the easiest way I've ever seen. I've been a big fan of MyFitnessPal for years. I've logged food for years. This is the easiest way because all you do basically is take a picture of the food and give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and thumbs sideways. We can track your workouts. But the best part of this is you get access to the most qualified staff of personal trainers in the entire Southeast, no matter where you're located. We'll do a consult with you at the very beginning. We'll coach you along the way. We'll be watching your program. You'll get tips on the coaching wall. You'll get hints on your particular program. Pledge is a fantastic way to maintain what you're doing or make your changes or make your improvements, because the number one thing we sell here is accountability. We're the most successful personal training facility in the Southeast, and we're pretty high up on any of IHRSA's numbers. And the reason being is because of our accountability. And now, no matter where you are, you can have that also. If you're interested in that, please contact us about Pledge, where goals meet accountability. You can call us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach out to me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That is our Facebook page and our website. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Team PE. And by the way, Pledge is free to all of our personal training clients, but it is extremely affordable, several different levels, one that'll fit you. So I urge you to check that out. Give us a call if we can help you with that. As far as the Carnivore Diet, like I say, everything, any of those diets, if you take your time with it and set up a short amount of time to make that change, probably going to be okay. But make sure you have a plan afterwards. And like I say, Pledge is the best way to do that. One other way you can get in touch with us about that is you can hit me up. I'm pointing right now. You can hit this link right here. That'll take you to the survey and get you signed up with it if we can help you out with it. But I sure hope you get in touch with us about that. Either way, good luck in your journey with it. If you have any questions, give us a holler. We're here to help you. We're here to do whatever we can to help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you for joining me today.